What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and you might be thinking, well, where is here? Where am I? Well, I'm actually in my home gym, which is just an extra bedroom, spare bedroom that we've converted into a little workout area. And the reason why I'm here is because today we're going to be having a workout tutorial. Well, actually, I'm just kidding. Definitely not a workout tutorial. It is going to be a Revit tutorial, but it does have something to do with this room. So when I was designing this room, I had to put in some sort of a flooring over like the wood floor, just because I didn't want to damage the wood and I didn't want it to be too noisy for the neighbors below when we're working out here. So because of that, I have found this rubber tiling. So as you can see here, it's just rubber tiles. They are 1 square meter each, and then you can place them on the ground and they absorb all the noise and the impact and so on. So when I was calculating these, obviously I did that in Revit because I do everything in Revit, and I just wanted to show you the way I figured out how to calculate the number of tiles as well as the dimensions of each tile inside of Revit. And then you can use this whenever you have to calculate how many tiles you have to buy for a certain project. I find it to be a lot more accurate than going just strictly by surface. Usually when you calculate by surface, you just include extra 10%, and I don't like that. I like to be precise. And that's what I used for this floor because this was kind of expensive, so I wanted to not buy any more than I absolutely need. So that's why I did this, and that's why I want to now share this with you so you can use it for your bathroom tiles, for your gym rubber tiles, or any other tile that you might be installing. Now, before we get into the video, I'd just like to ask you to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com. It's going to be the first link just below this video in the description, and then also up in the cards above. Now on my website I have obviously all of my courses, over 120 hours of content. I have my Revit templates, but then also really recently I have added some really high quality Revit families which you can get. So if you're interested in purchasing some really high quality Revit families, please check out the website and the families page, and if you find something that you like, you can get it there. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get straight into Revit. And here we are in Revit. So this is the gym room that I was talking about. So this is that room that's going to be standing in as the gym. And the first thing that we should probably do is calculate the area of this room. So you do that simply by going here to Room. RM is the shortcut. You hover over the room, and then here it will report the area. Now this is reporting the area because I'm using my template, so it has like the little area section, but that's not really something that's difficult to add into your room. And now if I just hit the tab key a couple of times, I can select the actual room itself. So this is just the room tag, but when you hover over that and hit the tab key once or twice, depending on your model, it's going to show you this little kind of X sign, and when you click on that, it gives you the actual room. Now here it says 14 square meters, but in reality, if we go here to the properties, as you can see, the area is 13.583 square meters. Now this is all nice and well, but we actually want to calculate the number of tiles because these kind of gym floor rubber tiles are quite expensive, so you don't want to buy more than you need. So let's do the calculation. Now that I think about it, it probably cost the same as the bathroom tiles, but for some reason they feel more expensive. I don't know why that is. Anyways, so what you want to do is go here to the roof tool, click on the roof tool, and then I'm just going to set the roof at level 1, so it's on the floor. Now you might be thinking, well, why am I using a roof to calculate a floor? Well, because if I use the roof tool, here in the roof types, we actually have sloped glazing. So this is something that we can use in order to add a curtain wall on a floor. So we have like a curtain floor, I guess you can say. Well, it's actually a curtain roof. but we're using it just to calculate the floor. So it's all about finding the correct workaround. Next, I'm just going to go here to the rectangle tool and go from one corner to the other, hit the escape key a couple of times, select the entire boundary, and then uncheck define slope, because we obviously don't want any slope on the floor. And also here we have the offset from roof base. So because the roof is kind of on the floor, you want just a little bit of an offset so it's above the actual wooden floor. So you can type in here something like 4 centimeters. I think it will do the job. So when I hit finish, as you can see, we have that floor. Now we do seem to have an issue here because we have all of the mullions and things like that, and we don't want that. So the next step is to hit the tab key a couple of times until you select that sloped glazing. You go here into edit type, and then you duplicate that type. So let's call this one a gym floor. Hit enter. Now for the grid 1 and 2, the spacing or the layout should be set to fixed distance, as it already is. So if it's not, just set it to fixed distance, and then the spacing should be the dimensions of the panel. So in this case, the panel is 1 by 1 meter or 100 by 100 centimeters. So I'm just going to check that. And then also here we have the mullions. Now in this case, well, we obviously don't need mullions on the floor. These panels go just one next to the other, so we shouldn't really have any space in between. So let's go here and set all of these to none. So all of the mullions, set them to none. Oops. So none, none, and then again none. Okay, so we have our new type, and when I hit apply, okay, let's delete the mullions, and we get something that looks like this. So for some reason, it still kept some of the mullions, which I find very annoying, but that's okay. You can simply do a cross selection like this, go to filter, go to check none, and then just go here to, let's see, curtain wall mullions, check them, hit apply. Okay, so these are the ones, and then you just hit delete and they're gone. Also, one more thing, again, I'm selecting this by using the tab key a few times till I get kind of the whole boundary. Select that. One more thing, go here into edit type and change the curtain panel from glazed to solid. There we go. Hit apply, and that's all that we need. Click OK. There we go. Okay, the next step is going to be to change this layout a little bit. So I want the layout to start from this wall, and then I want the justification to be kind of from this wall all the way to here. So these kind of smaller panels, I want them to be up on this side, because this is kind of where you work out, and then this is the rest area, so to speak, or where you keep the weights in this kind of home gym. So I want these to be over here, and for this side, I'm happy to have these kind of half panels up at this wall, and then the kind of the full-sized panels at this wall. So what you want to do is go here and select the entire curtain system, go here into the properties panel, and then we should have grid 1 and grid 2 justification. So here the justification for grid 1 is set to beginning. Now I'm not 100% sure which is grid 1. Is it the horizontal or the vertical grid? So I'm just going to set this to end and see what happens, and there we go. It was the grid 1 was kind of the horizontal one. So as you can see, now we have the full panel here, and then that smaller panel here. So just judging from this, I can zoom in here. I can use my measure tool, measure between two points, and measure from here to here, and as you can see, this is 52 centimeters. So this is a little bit more than half a panel, but if I measure from here to here, it's going to be 39. So this is a lot less than half a panel. So judging from this, we only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then from the kind of the remaining material, we can place these 3 panels here, these smaller 3 panels, because we can use some of the little excess material that's left off from these when we cut these. So from there, we can kind of judge that we need 15 panels. And if you're doing like a small calculation like I am over here, this is probably going to do the job for you. So even though here the report was like we need 14 square meters, or even less, like 13.5 or 13.6, in reality we really need 15 of these panels. Now for a small project like this, as I said, we can just simply count it because there's, well, very few of these panels. But let's say that you're working on a much larger project and you want to calculate more panels. How would you go about that? Well, for that we really have to create a schedule, but we have to calculate it in such a way where we know how many panels we need, how many full panels we have, and how many of these can have ones, and so on. So the best way that I found to calculate that would be to go here to the project browser, scroll down to schedules, here we go, right click, and then go to new schedule quantities. Now for the category here, we want the curtain panels. So let's see, curtain panels, there we go, click OK. And now here we can set up the fields. So for the fields, you want the area, obviously. You want the count, the number of panels. You want perhaps the family and type. And then you might want to have the width and the height of each panel. So let's see, here we go, height. Okay, so we have all the important data. Now I want my family and type to go all the way to the top, and then the count can go next to that because count is important. Now for sorting and grouping, we can sort by, let's go by area. For example, let's add a footer, and then let's do grand totals as well. For formatting, for my count, I want to calculate totals. For my area, do I need to calculate totals? I don't think I do. So I think we only need totals for the count. And then click OK. And that's going to create a schedule that looks like this. Now here it says, well, it says that we need 24 panels, and that's probably not what we actually need. Now the reason for this is, as you can see here, we have all of these solid panels, but we also have these glazed panels. Now if I go back here to the floor plan, you can see that we have a curtain wall here and a curtain wall here, so that includes some glazed panels. That's why this panel schedule is so large. So we need to figure out a way to disqualify these panels here. Now obviously these are much larger, so we can definitely disqualify them by area, but let's say that we're in a situation where we might have some panels that we don't want to include in our schedule, but that are still less than 1 square meter. So what do you do in such a case? Well, one solution would be to go back here to level 1, select one of these panels, go to right click, we can go to select all instances in the entire project, there we go, so we have 18 of these panels over here, and then we can simply go here to the comments and we can say gym, for example, and hit enter. So we have added a parameter just for these panels here in the gym area that we're using for our calculation. Okay, so keep that in mind. When I go back here to the panel schedule, I can go to filter, which is here in the properties, and then I can filter down using one of the parameters. Now currently we don't really have the comment parameter, so we have to go into the field, go to the comments and add a comment parameter, go back to filter, and then add that comments. And here we can say that it equals, let's say, gym. Hit OK, and now as you can see, our panel schedule has been filtered down to show only the panels that include gym in the comments, and those are these solid panels. And as you can see, the grand total is 18. Well, obviously, as we mentioned before, we don't have actually 15 of these. We have we don't need 18, we actually need 15. So the problem is it's counting even the ones that are quite small. So it's even counting these panels, even though we can make them from scraps from all of these panels. So a solution for that would be to again add a filter here, go to filter and add and area is greater than, and then we can say 0.4
square meters. So if the area is greater than 0.4 square meters, we're going to be counting these panels, or perhaps even 0.5. Why? Well, because if it's larger than 0.5, we actually need that panel. If it's larger than half a panel, we need that panel. But if it's smaller, it can be made out of scraps. So if I just use this approach, okay, so we seem to have a problem here, and the problem is with the area parameter. So let me go back here to formatting, go to area, go to field format, uncheck this, and then use 2 decimal places. Let's see, does this help us? Yes, it does. So here, when we have 2 decimal places, it can actually calculate 0.5. And as you can see, now it's kind of filtered our panel schedule down, and now it only shows 15. So this does seem a little bit silly, especially in a small case such as this small room here. This small kind of only 15 panels, but imagine if you have if you had many more panels, and especially if they're kind of quite expensive panels, you don't want to buy extra, you don't want to buy more than you need, and this would be an approach where you could kind of buy exactly as many panels as are required, which is 15. So anything past anything larger than half a panel, well, you have to buy it because you cannot split a panel into 2 kind of 0.6 meter panels. It just wouldn't work. The math isn't there. So anyways, that's the approach that I used to calculate the panels for this gym. And again, as I said, it's not something that I could have used for the bathrooms, as the workers already have their own method of measuring that works perfectly fine. So it's not something that should be used or that can be used in most cases, but if a situation arises, now you know how to calculate those panels. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope it helps you out when you're calculating your rubber gym floor for your apartment or something similar. Also, make sure to check out my courses on my website, balkanarchitect.com. That's going to be the first link in the description. I have many courses ranging from beginner to intermediate as well as advanced level topics, so make sure to check that out. And also, if you're interested in my Revit project files, you can find those on my Patreon page. Okay, that's pretty much it, and make sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.